Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Thunderdome Metal Reviews. We're going to Moldova tonight to listen to Infected Rain's new album, Ecdysis? Ecdysis? It's fake Moldovan Greek. I don't know. With me, as always, are the other three pistons of this infernal engine, Gabe, Tracy, and Benjamin. How are you gentlemen on this fine, for us, chilly as fuck evening?
It's stuck here too. I'm doing pretty good. The cat is chasing around his toy, which may or may not have a bunch of catnip on it, and I am drinking whiskey. So,
catnip.
I'm doing good. Enjoying this fine winter weather.
Yeah, I'm wrapped up in cozy like this figure on the album cover who seems to be about to be eaten by a spider. But hey.
Warm though, right? That's got to be a warm
place.
outfit.
So
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up, Gabe, because maybe I missed it somewhere in there. But this album cover has not a damn thing to do with the rest of this. Tracy has raised his fingers as if.
Right.
So, Ecdysis
I knew. I was like, somebody look up the title.
Is a word.
Yeah, no, thank you, Tracy.
And no. it's a noun. And it is the process of shedding the old skin in reptiles or casting off the outer cuticle in insects and other arthropods.
Okay.
Arthropods.
That's cool, but that's not what's happening here.
No, not at all.
maybe this is a new
screen.
album. Like maybe this is a new sound, and it's a shedding of old skin, and this is a different sound.
And you are the victim, constrained to sit there and listen.
Uh-oh.
I
know where this is going.
This is going somewhere good. Really, man? You like? Okay, no, we'll say.
No, I like
ruin,
this. I'm just
surely.
saying. Yeah. No, that's just it. I like my ruin, so I have to.
That's what I thought. I'm like my ruin.
Yeah.
Ben won't read it all the way.
No.
This picture, Tracy, is not the shedding of skin. This is like you being immobilized to listen to the album, I guess, by whatever the spider off screen,
or it's a cocoon for
chrysalis
to turn into a pretty butterfly.
Is that what you think?
Yeah,
one can.
That's not you caught by the.
I like how you guys are like, that motherfucker about to die, and I'm like, maybe they're turning into something better.
Well, they're turning. I've been
as a spider. That would be something better. Food sustenance.
It would be. Tracy, I've been attacked by those spiders from Lord of the Rings, and this is how that shit looks. So no.
For sure.
And I never looked at it this big. I looked at the cover and was like, nope, don't engage. Oh my god, I love it.
This was released on January 7th of 2022. It is David's pick for an album that came out in January of this year. It's their fifth studio album overall. It's released on Napalm Records. Has a runtime of 54 minutes and 52 seconds. The band is Vadim Vidic Ozhog on guitars, Vladimir Babic on bass, Sergei Babic on guitars, Eugene Volta on drums, and Lena Scissorhands Ketaraga on vocals. They did bring in Heidi Shepard from the Butcher Babies to provide guest vocals on one of the tracks as well. So, David, why did you pick this album?
I picked this album because I needed an album. This was one. So I looked at the list and I was like, "Ooh, I know that name." And so, yes, their two previous albums I have on a list of like creepy, spooky shit, with like Kidney Thieves and Nine Inch Nails, that kind of stuff. And I like some of that sort of, I liked My Ruin, right? I was like, okay, this is a thing, that sort of goth chick that's beating you to death with a tire iron or whatever, like, okay. And so I knew that their vocalist was, in my opinion, quite good. I think, shit, dude. Because that's just having a woman as your front doesn't mean the vocals are actually good, and she's quite good and terrifying, as far as I can tell. I don't know if you saw images of her. She's a performance artist. And I don't know, I don't live in Moldova. I know people that have, and I think you have to come hard. I think it's St. Berkeley. That's what I wanted to say.
100%. And to that point, the best instrument on this album, in my opinion, is her voice. Okay. Because not only does she have a great death metal growl and scream, but man, I was amazed by how operatic her clean vocals were as well.
Oh yeah. No, she's, and do not repeat this, Tracy, but I would say Evanescence grade.
Well, we were talking about it before you got on. And for me, listening to this band, it checked a lot of boxes as In This Moment does. And it sounded, for me, that's where I was going back to listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
And Haley's also a fan of it in this moment. So I think she actually might like this band if she ever was to go, hey, I want you to tell me about an artist or something like that. And I was like, here you go. But that's never going to happen. So
You know what needs to happen. This spider needs to come, do this, and she has to listen to it. Like,
see, she will die at that moment because she hates
that's
spiders.
Right. You told me that story where they came for her, man.
So no.
That's a hard pass.
Hard pass, yeah.
Maybe like the albums we were doing last week, you're gonna have to I Hate God, you're gonna have to put a new cover together, right? That's not Spiderly. Yeah. Whatever new anodyne thing when they change labels. I'm sorry, not to go back to I Hate God, but I'd forgotten what the original covers looked like. And the minute I saw them, I'm like, oh right, this shit.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen that at like the indie shady record stores where I'd seen them, not the mall.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah.
Not the mall.
It's like, but the French label let us do this. The American label,
an actual snuff film we made.
Yes, for $30.
$30, dude. So this is an album, and I knew their work from spooky playlists, and I knew she had a powerful voice, and so I got on the ride, and I took you too.
Yep. Well, I want to say, you guys are talking about her voice. I think it's also placed more. It's in the front of the mix, and I think that's by design because her voice is the most standout thing on this album. Because I don't think the drumming necessarily is nothing too technical.
It's not.
The guitar works serviceable, but I don't think it's virtuoso. The bass is kind of mixed out. So, like, the goal of this album, sound-wise, is for her voice to be first, foremost prominent in the mix. And they do achieve that. And I think they play into their strengths by doing that as well.
I mean, they're probably some of the better guitarists in Moldova. I don't know how ruthless that market is, but yeah, they know what they have, and she knows what they have, and so here it is, right? Like, I wouldn't want to be the person of the band that argued she needed to go down in the mix and I needed to go up.
Oh no, that would be a bad decision. I do agree with Tracy. I think she is the star on every track. I cannot fault her vocals on any of them. I do find some of the music behind the vocals lackluster on a few tracks. And actually more than lackluster, actually downright boring on some. Because this is like a weird new metal-ish kind of thing, which is not at all what I was expecting from the cover. But so I was completely shocked going into this. But yeah, this is one of those things where some of the songs are very good and match with her vocals very well. Her vocals are good on everything, and the music on some of the stuff just kind of doesn't reach the standard.
I liked it because it was heavier than the other ones. I'm like, yeah. So I came from such a different place. Like, I knew how they sounded, and I don't mind what is it, the bleeps and the bloops or whatever Gabe called them. You know, that all the electronica stuff. I mean, there's like a Euro dance track on here.
Yeah.
Was it November? November.
That song sounds like Streets of Rage 2 for Sega Genesis.
But
we don't have to go there.
Love it.
What I was gonna say is, like, instead of piling on and just saying the same thing as y'all have said, which I agree with pretty much, which is that the vocals are really great and some of the music just doesn't hold up to that level. It reminded me not only of Evanescence, not that I've listened a whole lot of it, but like what I remember of Evanescence, but also with the female fronted bands like Ginger and Cellar Darling, and those bands are much more interesting musically than this one is. That said, I don't know whether this record is I don't know, it's just not it's not terrible, but it's like not doing as much interesting things music wise, and I don't mind listening to it, but I don't think it'll ever be my favorite thing or the thing that I sort of gravitate to most. But I guess there are a couple places on the record where the composition is interesting, or where the rhythm is good, and part of it actually is what the vocalist is doing rhythmically with her voice. I think that's pretty interesting, and also like the combo between growling and speaking, and clean singing.
Sounds like you had a very super okay, mediocre, fine listening experience. 2 albums in a row. Didn't make me mad. Didn't please me.
Yeah. Should we move on to tracks?
Sure.
I'll go first. I think Postmortem Part 1 is a very good opener. I wish Postmortem Part 2 as good a closer as Postmortem Part 1 was as an opener, but it's not bad. The Realms of Chaos I like, Everlasting Lethargy, Showers, Goodbye. As I said, there is some good stuff on this album, and her performance is really great. I hate to say this because it would appear by names that 2 of the members in the band are related. They're probably, as David said, some of the best. That might be insulting to them, the best musicians in Moldova, but whatever. I just found it was kind of like seeing Bruce Dickinson playing with the high school hall band,
That is harsh. Shit. Damn. I think they're fine, but okay. All right, I see where you're going.
Yeah, they are. That is exactly my point. They are fine.
Okay, there it is. Okay, fair enough.
I'll go next. I will say I think it opens. I agree with Dan. I think Postmortem 1's a good opener, but Postmortem 2 is not a good closer. I think it's okay at best. I like Goodbye, Everlasting Lethargy, and Showers are probably the 4 tracks. Or the 4 tracks I pulled off this for the big ass playlist.
I think that Fighter is actually the opener. The first track is not the opener for me. And I liked Longing. I liked Realm of Chaos, I think, is where the album kind of finally hits its stride. The composition really works for me. Everlasting Lethargy is also good. The vocals are really interesting. I like Showers, and I also like Never the Same, despite the string keypads, which I usually don't like at all. So yeah, it was super fun. Okay.
Super fun. Okay. I like nearly all of these. I agree that Postmortem Part 1 is, I guess, another not song that is a song. Like, I know it feels a bit like an intro, but Fighter's really good. I pulled Fighter. I pulled that through Everlasting Lethargy off for the playlist because I do that like Tracy. And then I like November. I know it's like Euro trash insanity, but
I didn't say I didn't like it, but it wasn't my
Have
favorite.
you seen me? Have you met me? Anyway, and then Never the Same is also good. Yeah, I agree. Postmortem Part 2 is a little bit meh, but I like just 80 or 90% of these tracks, and I think maybe I'm holding them to a new metal standard, not Zakk Wylde standard. But I thought the playing here was super fun. Okay, I guess that's yep. I know that's literally actually what you're saying, Ben, but I'm just sad. You and I have different emotional timbers for giving to that statement.
Don't nobody go see them live for the instruments that are in the band.
Well, they might be kick ass live. Who knows? They've probably played.
Yeah, I mean,
they'd be insane. They may be better live.
That's also possible.
Yeah, don't know.
Yeah, they could be virtuosos that are playing this style.
But what I'm saying is, never seen them live. You're not going to buy a ticket based off the guitarist work on this album to go see them live.
Nah, but
it's going to be her voice that brings the money.
They know that too. I mean, Poppy didn't even tell you who was playing the fucking instruments. So the few things I'll ding her for, I'm like, who's playing this? Doesn't matter. You're like, what?
Yeah. Literally.
So at least Scissorhands, Lena allowed them to put their names in it. So
yeah, they are in fact a band.
They are in fact a band. So again, and I really like Poppy, but when I figured that out, I'm like, that's some cold shit. But exploit and be exploited alike. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, we should grade it, and I'm supposed to go first. Yes, as it was my pick.
Indeed, sir.
So I think, you know what? I'm gonna fuck this grade up. I'm gonna give it an A-. I thought it was cool. Again, I thought it was heavier than the other ones, and her voice is fantastic. Because I also like Evanescence. I'm just like part of me is a weird goth kid at heart. Fucking Raleigh Goth Club. Anyway, yeah, and the more I listen to it, the more I get into it. So I'm gonna give it an A-. I'm not ashamed.
I'm going to give it a B-.
For the second time tonight, me and Tracy are landing in the same spot. I'm also going to give it a B-.
I'm going to land in between here. I'm going to give this a B. It's a lot easier listening for me than, say, some of the other records we're going to be dealing with or we have dealt with already. So, yeah, it's not bad. It's not perfect, but it's.
Yeah, I admit I might have graded it differently if we had different albums with it. But of the stuff this week, this one by far, like the tempo was up, and so part of it may have been. I think this is always true when we put them in clusters of 4, what that looks like. But
Yeah.
I'd buy this to anticipate that question, Ben.
I wouldn't. It's just on the shelf.
Get that.
Would I buy this? I guess it would depend on what single I heard off, because I wouldn't buy it on the album cover.
Sure.
So it wouldn't have that appeal. But if I heard Realm of Chaos, yeah, I would buy this. And I wouldn't mind this is one of those things that I wouldn't listen to a whole lot, but I wouldn't mind having in the collection just because it's cool and different enough. And like I said at the beginning, I love My Ruin, and this is at the very least invoking that.
Yes.
So
agreed. Yeah, I really like My Ruin for exactly that reason. Like, I'm an easy mark for this shit, and I don't know. I bought a lot of dumb shit in Europe, so this would just be more of that. I made choices, and I would just choose this, I suppose. What are we doing next, Tracy?
Well, Gabe didn't say if you'd buy it or not.
Oh, would you buy this, Gabe? No.
Only if I thought all of the tracks sounded like Sega Genesis soundtracks from the 1990s.
That's a different record, and we're going to find it for you. Don't worry. I think the search continues.
Yeah. Accepted.
Oh, I know. Tracy's like, let me scanning.
Yeah. What is the aggregate gauge?
Let me ask the algorithm.
The algorithm.
The average that this album brought in is an 86.
86.
So
yeah, that's
a high
respectable.
All right. And we are doing what next, Tracy?
Next, we're doing my pick for January in Wilder Run Epigon.
And this cover, sorry, I'd never seen it so large. I see. 'Tis a cloud fractal. That font, man. I don't know what we're doing there. The band font. It's got to be Wilder Run, right? Or is it Wild Run, like ye old pube, like the old?
Maybe
pub?
Wilder Run.
I don't know what it is. Wilder Run, Wilder Run.
So, Gabe, when you called Boston and asked for your cut, what did they say the name of this was? I'm going to catch them eventually.
I think they said "fuck off."
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
You get a breakdown, and you get a breakdown.
Exactly, that's what they said.
Yeah. Well, they
see if they had said that, then I would have said you've given me the wrong album.
Yeah, for real.
This isn't that.
They have a box of those that they didn't use on this album, not to spoil it. So
that box sitting in the corner of a recording studio.
But anyway,
We'll
catch you next time here on Thunderdome Metal Reviews.